Hello students, this is Asma Babani. Students, today we will be discussing social science of grade 7, chapter 3, Mughal Empire. Have you seen the Taj Mahal, Red Fort of Delhi and Buland Darwaza of Fatehpur Sikri? All these architectural pieces were built by the Mughal rulers. Before establishment of the Mughal rule, Sultanate period was there. Moreover, some Rajput states were also there. Students, let's study about the establishment of the Mughal Empire. The Mughal Empire was established by Babur in 1526 AD. His original name was Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur. In Panipat, a battle was fought between Babur and Ibrahim Lodi on 20 April 1526. This battle is known as the First Battle of Panipat. Babur used cannons in this battle and defeated Ibrahim Lodi and laid foundation of the Mughal Empire in India. Students, when Delhi was under Ibrahim Lodi's rule, Babur used to rule in Kabul, Afghanistan. Babur was the ruler of the Mughal dynasty. He attacked Delhi in 1526 and Ibrahim Lodi was defeated by Babur's well-equipped army which had cannons in the Battle of Panipat. This brought an end to the Sultanate age and the establishment of the Mughal rule in India. Mughal rulers. Mughal rulers include Babur, Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. Babur 1526 AD to 1530 AD. Babur was an intelligent and powerful warrior. He was fluent in Persian and Arabic language and a nature lover and writer. He wrote autobiography Tuzuk-e-Baburi, Baburnama, a famous work of world literature. Students, Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur was the first Mughal ruler who founded the Mughal Empire in India in 1526 after defeating Ibrahim Lodi in the first battle of Panipat. And he was a descendant of Temur and Genghis Khan. Okay. And Babur was one of the most illustrious ruler of that period. He was a Persian and Arabic scholar. The main source of information about him is in his autobiography, which is known as Baburnama, or you can also it is also known as Tuzuk-e-Baburi. And he was a great general and an accomplished leader. Babur was an ardent lover of nature. He had described beautifully the flora and fauna, the physical features, and the life of the people of the places which he conquered. The next king, the next ruler in this Mughal dynasty was Humayun, 1530 AD to 1540 AD and 1555 AD to 1556 AD. Students, here there are two this time period given after the name of Humayun, and later on we will get the reason why this two time period is given. Humayun ascended to the throne of Delhi in 1530. Humayun means lucky, but he faced many difficulties in life. He fought a battle against Sultan Bahadur Shah of Gujarat and Sher Shah, the powerful ruler of Bihar, 1540 AD. Sher Shah defeated Humayun in the Battle of Kannauj and drove him out of India. Humayun lost his empire and escaped to Iran. But a few years later, he came to India again. With the help of the Emperor of Iran in 1545 AD, he conquered Kabul and Kandahar in 1555 AD and re-established his rule over India. Humayun was fond of reading and writing like his father. He founded a town named Dinpana near Delhi. He died after falling down the steps of the library during the evening prayer. Students, after Babur's death, his eldest son Nasiruddin Muhammad Humayun, he succeeded his throne after him in 1530 AD. And according to the Timurid custom, he had to share the power with his three brothers, Kamran, Hindal and Askari. And the three major difficulties which he had to face all through his life was, the first one was that the kingdom was disorganized and the administration had to be set up. The second difficulty was that he had to face the revolts from his own brothers who were dissatisfied with their share of the kingdom. And the third difficulty was there were constant threats from all the sides which made it difficult for him to sustain his kingdom. The Rajput rulers, Bahadur Shah, the rulers of Gujarat and Afghan were great challenge for his empire. And Afghans had a powerful leader in the form of Sher Shah. He was the governor of Bihar. He defeated Humayun twice, first in the Battle of Chausa and then in the Battle of Kannauj. And after Battle of Kannauj, Humayun had no other option to leave India and except he had to flee to Sindh and then to Persia, where he remained in exile for 15 years. And during these 15 years, students, I told you at the starting of the paragraph from 1540 to 1555, there is a gap of 15 years. And during those 15 years, Sher Shah took the Sur Empire to new heights and reigned powerfully in the northern regions. Then in 1555, Humayun tried to recapture Delhi. After Sher Shah's death, he successfully annexed Lahore and occupied Delhi and Agra. The success of Humayun was short lived as he fell down from the stairs of his own library and he died in 1556 AD. And he was succeeded by his son Akbar. Humayun's biography, Humayunama, was written by his sister Gulbadan Begum. Humayun was fond of reading and writing like his father Babur, and he also founded a town named Dinpana, which is near Delhi. Sher Shah Suri, 1540 to 1545 AD. Sher Shah was a Muslim of the Afghan dynasty. His original name was Farid Khan. He established his rule over India after defeating Humayun. He was a reformer and a just ruler. He established peace in the kingdom by controlling bandits and robbers. He established a new postal system. He built inns for the traders and pilgrims, introduced the currency of the rupee, and formed a huge army. He built a long highway, Grand Trunk Road, which connected Bengal and North India. He died in 1545 AD while inspecting a cannon. No powerful ruler like him ever came to the throne afterwards. Consequently, in 1545 AD, Humayun invaded Delhi and Agra and defeated the Afghans and re-established the Mughal Empire. Students, real name of Sher Shah Suri was Farid Khan. He was a valiant warrior and he killed a tiger single-handedly, after which he earned the title of Sher Shah. He belonged to the Sur kingdom. He defeated Humayun in two consecutive battles and finally he occupied the Mughal throne and ruled under the title of Sher Shah Suri. He established Sur dynasty. Although Sher Shah ruled for a short period of 5 years, he built a kingdom that stretched from Jhelum in the west to Brahmaputra in the east, and from the Himalayas in the north to the Narmada in the south. He was an excellent administrator and he introduced many administrative reforms in civil, military, and land revenue system. He had a large standing army. He even introduced coins, which was called rupiah, and which was accepted as a medium of exchange. He built excellent network of roads and he built a long highway known as Grand Trunk Road which connected Bengal and North India. He even built number of sarais. Sarais means you can say rest houses, that is inns, on every road for conveyance of the travelers. He also planted many fruit trees on both sides of the roads. And he was an impartial judge and a great builder. He died after a short rule of 5 years in 1545 after an explosion took place in the fort of Kalinjar. He was inspecting a cannon and suddenly it exploded and he died. Akbar, 1556 AD to 1605 AD. As a ruler, Akbar holds a significant place in the history of India. He was born in 1542 AD in the home of a Hindu Rajput ruler in Amarkot. He became the Mughal emperor of Delhi at the age of 14 after the death of Humayun. Second Battle of Panipat took place between Akbar and Hemu. This battle was won by Akbar. Students, Akbar was born, Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar was born on 15th October 1542 AD in Umarkot when his father Humayun was dethroned and helpless. He was crowned as the emperor at the age of just 14 years. He was minor when he was crowned. And after Humayun's death, second battle of Panipat took place between Akbar and Hemu, and Akbar won this battle. Akbar established his rule over vast area from Punjab to Bengal and from Delhi to Gujarat. The famous Battle of Haldighati was fought between Akbar and Rana Pratap of Mewar. Akbar established his vast empire by conquering Kabul, Kashmir, Baluchistan to Ahmednagar in the south. He made Fatehpur Sikri his capital and built many buildings. Akbar adopted a liberal religious policy towards the Hindus and started social relations with the Rajputs. He appointed the Rajputs at high positions in the army. The Rajputs also helped him a lot with their bravery and adventure in conquering India. Akbar was a secular king. He brought together the best elements of all religions and established a sect called Din-e-Ilahi. He translated great texts like Ramayana, Mahabharata, Atharvaved, Panchtantra, Bible and Quran into Persian. Students, Akbar established his rule over vast area from Punjab to Bengal and from Delhi to Gujarat. There was a famous battle fought between Akbar and Rana Pratap of Mewar, which is called the Battle of Haldighati. Akbar established his vast empire. He conquered Kandahar, Kashmir, and Kabul and established his rule over Khandesh, Ahmednagar in south. Students, Akbar was the first Muslim ruler of India who realized that there could be no permanent Muslim empire without the cooperation of the Rajputs. They had to be peacefully won over. Besides, other features of the new Rajput policy of Akbar have won him a unique place in history. He gave important posts to the Rajputs and other Hindus in his kingdom. For example, Raja Todarmal was the Diwan in the Akbar's court. Raja Birbal was Wazir. Raja Man Singh was the most trusted general of Akbar. These were some of the Rajputs who were provided high positions in Akbar's court. He honored the Rajput kings even after defeating them and did not interfere in their internal affairs. Students, Akbar believed that they should be allowed perfect freedom in matters of faith and worship. So he abolished the pilgrim tax. He abolished the toll tax or jizya tax which the non-Muslims had to pay. He took keen interest in the religious and social customs of the people. Students, a great change came in the religious policy of Akbar. He built a spacious hall in his new capital Fatehpur Sikri, known as the Ibadat Khana, where he could hold religious and philosophical discussions. He invited scholars of all religions, Hindu, Jain, Christian, and Islam, to take part in the discussions. And he included the ethics of all these religions and established a new faith or religious order known as Din-e-Ilahi. The followers of Din-e-Ilahi believed in one God. Akbar did not compel anybody to join his religion. He banned forced sati. He forbade marriages between near relatives. And he discouraged excessive drinking and use of intoxicants. He laid down strict punishment for the crime like female infanticide. During his time, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Atharvaved, Panchtantra, Bible, and Quran were translated into Persian. Akbar was a social reformer. He opposed child marriages and sati. He abolished pilgrim taxes and banned forced religious conversions. India was economically prosperous during Akbar's rule. He began an era of social tolerance. Most of the parts of India were under the reign of Mughals at the time of Akbar's death, 1605 AD. Students, Akbar died in 1605 AD and was buried at Sikandra near Agra. He had established a strong and well organized Mughal empire, and he was succeeded by his son Salim. Jahangir, 1605 to 1627. Jahangir inherited a great empire established by Akbar. He continued Akbar's policies and established good relations with the Hindus. He extended his rule from Assam to Golconda in the South India. His wife Noor Jahan was intelligent and ambitious. He encouraged many arts. Painting flourished a lot during his rule. He himself was a great painter. He died in 1627 AD and his son Shah Jahan came to power. Students, Salim was the fourth ruler of the Mughal Empire who ascended the throne of Delhi after Akbar's death. He acquired the title of Jahangir and acquired the throne. He was a man of justice, educated, and an able administrator. He continued Akbar's religious policy and attained reverence from all spheres of the society. Jahangir got a large empire in heritage and continued to expand. His expansionist policy further by crushing the rebellions and conquering Mewar, Kangra and Himachal and Ahmednagar fort in the Deccan. Jahangir was a patron of art and architecture. He built beautiful gardens and monuments and made picturesque paintings. Jahangir was married to Noor Jahan. She was extremely talented and beautiful. Persian art and culture flourished under her patronage. She was very influential in the administration and took important decisions. Even coins were issued in her name. In 1622 CE, Jahangir's health declined and he died in 1627 CE. Shah Jahan, 1627 to 1658. Shah Jahan's nickname was Khurram. He conquered South India. He was as powerful as his father. He was a lover of architecture. He built the world famous architectural monument, the Taj Mahal, in the memory of his wife Mumtaz. Students, Shah Jahan's nickname was Khurram and he conquered South India. He was also as powerful as his father. He is considered to be one of the greatest Mughals. His reign was one of the most prosperous ages of Indian civilization and he was a lover of architecture. He built famous architectural monument the Taj Mahal in the memory of his wife Mumtaz. The Taj Mahal is considered as one of the wonders of the world. Students, the Taj Mahal is a white marble mausoleum located in Agra, Uttar Pradesh, India. Shah Jahan, in the memory of his third wife Mumtaz Mahal, he built Taj Mahal and it is regarded as the finest example of Mughal architecture and is considered one of the seven wonders of the world. The Taj Mahal is widely recognized as the jewel of Muslim art in India and one of the universally admired masterpieces of the world's heritage. Aurangzeb, 1658 to 1707. Taking the advantage of Shah Jahan's ill health, a fierce civil war broke among his sons. The main struggle took place between the elder son of Shah Jahan, Dara Shikoh, and Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb defeated his three brothers one by one, killed Dara Shikoh, and sent Murad in jail. He himself took up the throne. He defeated his another brother Sujan and sent him to exile. Aurangzeb ruled for about 50 years. His kingdom consisted of the Kashmir in the north to Jinji in the south and from Chittagong in the east to Hindukush mountain range in the west. Aurangzeb was a Sunni Muslim and led a very simple life. He abandoned Akbar's religious policy and showed religious intolerance. He was against music, idol worship, and religious festivals. There were many revolts during his time. He was a powerful king who ruled over a major part of India for a long time. He died in 1707 AD. After his death, some weak rulers came, resulting in the fall of the Mughal Empire. Students, in 1658, Shah Jahan fell seriously ill. A war of succession broke out among his four sons, Dara Shikoh, Shuja, Murad, and Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb emerged out victorious after murdering his another three brothers. He even imprisoned his father Shah Jahan in Agra fort where he died in 1666 CE. Aurangzeb declared himself as the new emperor, assuming the title of Alamgir. He ruled for 50 years till his death in 1707 in Ahmednagar. There were a number of rebellions during Aurangzeb's reign. Aurangzeb was an orthodox, God-fearing and a strict disciplinarian. He led a simple life and was called Zinda Peer or living saint due to his simplicity. He was of suspicious nature and did not trust anyone. He imposed jizya upon Hindus, which was removed by Akbar. He was the last of the great Mughals. Many Mughal rulers ruled till 1857 after his death, and the last emperor of Mughal dynasty was Bahadur Shah Zafar, who took part in the revolt of 1857 against British but was captured and sent to exile. And thus, with Aurangzeb's death, the British annexed their territories. Rana Sangram Singh. Rana Sangram Singh of Mewar was a contemporary of Babur. He is also known as Rana Sanga. He was heroic and adventurous. He won many battles. However, he was defeated in the Battle of Kanwa against Babur and his empire was reduced to nothing. Students, Rana Sangram Singh was known as Rana Sanga and he was very valiant and courageous king. He fought a battle with brave Babur at Kanwa, in which Babur defeated him as his army was equipped with cannons, and the empire of Rana Sanga was reduced to nothing. He had nothing after this battle. Maharana Pratap. Maharana Pratap was the majestic ruler of Mewar who fought against Akbar of the Mughal Empire. As Akbar attacked Mewar, the Battle of Haldighati took place between Akbar and Maharana Pratap. Akbar was victorious, but Maharana Pratap established his power in the adjoining areas of Udaipur, so the struggle continued. There were several attempts for pacification, but Rana was not ready to leave Chittor. He continued the guerrilla warfare. After the defeat of Haldighati in 1576 AD, Rana Pratap took the capital of Gogunda and continued fighting till the end. Later on, he made Chavan of Dungarpur as his capital. He died at the age of 51. Students, there were frequent struggles between Mughals and the Sisodia Rajputs. The courageous Sisodia Rajputs were not ready to accept Mughal supremacy and so fought against Akbar boldly and bravely. Among all these warriors, Maharana Pratap's bravery is special and it is noteworthy. Among the rulers of Sisodia dynasty, Maharana Pratap was one who fought against Akbar continuously till the end. Akbar wanted to set up his rule in Mewar. There were many battles fought between Mewar and Delhi, among which the Battle of Haldighati is considered to be a landmark battle. Akbar had a huge, well-equipped army with modern weapons, and Rajput warriors they just had an advantage of living in forest and were therefore used to fighting wars in hilly areas. There were just 20 to 22,000 soldiers who fought bravely against lack of Mughal soldiers. Maharana Pratap lost the battle against Akbar but did not give up. He did not wanted to give up his fort Chittor. Veer Durgadas Rathod. Durgadas Rathod was the son of Ashkaran Rathod, the minister of Jaswant Singh, the ruler of Marwar. He is compared to Rana Pratap. He did not accept the dominion of Aurangzeb during his reign. Students, after the demise of the king of Jodhpur, his queen and her son were under the threat of the Mughal rulers. Veer Durgadas sheltered them at a safe place. After that, with the help of the loyal soldiers, he protected Marwar's independence for 25 years. Aurangzeb was unsuccessful in dealing with their strategy of launching surprise attacks and had to ultimately reconcile with the Rajputs. Chhatrapati Shivaji. Chhatrapati Shivaji, one of the greatest kings of India, was the founder of the Maratha Empire. He was born in 1627 AD in Shivneri, Maharashtra. Shivaji, the son of Jijabai and Shahji, was greatly influenced by his guru Samarth Ramdas and Dadaji Kondev. He conquered more than 40 forts to expand the great Maratha kingdom from a small estate. He fought with the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb and Adil Shah of Bijapur Sultanate for a long time and finally achieved victory. After his defeat, he signed a treaty with the Mughal Emperor in 1665 AD. Aurangzeb even imprisoned him, but he escaped cleverly and fought back and won. He was coronated in 1674 AD at Rajgarh and rose to prominence as a Hindu emperor. In addition to being a great conqueror, he was also an efficient administrator and a great organizer. His cabinet was known as Asta Pradhan Mandal. He died in 1680 AD. Students, as a result of Aurangzeb's policy, many kingdoms rebelled against him. Maratha kingdom was one amongst them. The Maratha Sardars who worked for the Bahmani Sultans enjoyed jagirs, that is large land holdings, that is large properties. But the need to establish an independent and strong Maratha kingdom arose with the emergence of Shahji Bhosle, the brave and capable leader. Shivaji was born in 1627 AD at Shivneri Fort. He was raised by his mother Jijabai and his mentor Dadoji Kundev. The name of his father was Shahji. He expanded his army at the tender age of 16 and he started capturing forts. Torana, Chakan, Sinhgarh, Purandar were some of the forts captured by him. Shivaji was coronated in 1674 AD and before that in 1665 AD he was imprisoned by Aurangzeb and he also signed a treaty with Mughal emperor. But he escaped cleverly and he came back and fought again and he won the war. He worked hard to establish a smooth and efficient administrative system. He formed a cabinet of 8 ministers for the proper administration of the state, which was called Astha Pradhan Mandal. He died in 1680 AD. Mughal administration. The Mughal administration was systematically established by Akbar. In it, the emperor was the center of the rule and head of the council of ministers. He was the supreme commander and judge. A wazir was appointed to coordinate between the emperor and administration. He was called the Diwan-e-Wazir-e-Kul and was also the head of finance and the revenue system. The head of the army was called Mir Baksh. He recruited the army and its officers. He supervised the intelligence system. The spies of the Mughal Empire were known as Vakwe-Navis. There was a department called Mir-e-Saman to look after the personal needs of the emperor. He was also the head of the government factories. The head of the judiciary was Qazi. Students, the emperor was the pivot of the whole administration. He was an autocrat and had unlimited powers. The emperor did not carry out the whole administration single handedly. He had a number of ministers to assist and advise him. The most important ministers of the central government were the Vakil, Diwan, Mir Bakshi, and Khan-e-Saman. The Wazir was the chief minister. The Diwan controlled the Department of Finance and Revenue. He made rules and regulations for the land revenue settlement. The Mir Bakshi was mainly concerned with the recruitment, maintenance, training, and inspection of the army. He was the paymaster of the imperial army. The Khan-e-Saman was in charge of the royal household. His main duties were to control the emperor's personal servants and look after the food, stores, etc. He also managed the karkhanas. The Sardar-e-Sadur was to encourage Islamic learning. All the officials of the judicial department such as Qazis and Muftis were appointed by the king on his recommendations. Revenue system. Akbar introduced a new revenue system in India, which was known as Mansabdari system. The revenue rate was 1/3 part of the annual produce. The founder of Akbar's revenue system was Todarmal. Mansabdari system was singed with army as well as the revenue department. Mansab means Jagir and Mansabdar was considered as the chief of the Jagir. He collected revenue from the Jagir and maintained law and order in the area. For this he was given army according to the Jagir. He was considered as the chief justice of the area and was transferred at regular intervals. The Mughal Mansabdari system was unique in the world and was the highest paid in the world. Students, as I said earlier, Akbar reorganized the whole machinery of civil and military services on the new lines which was known as the Mansabdari system. The Mansabdars drew pay according to their ranks and had to finish the number of men indicated in their grades when called upon to do so. The highest grades were reserved for the members of the royal family. The Mansabdari troops were recruited by the Mansabdar himself and could be transferred by the emperor at his sweet will. The king laid down general rules for the recruitment, maintenance, and payment of troops. The keep a check on malpractices by Mansabdars, descriptive roles of their soldiers were maintained. Students, one third part of the annual produce was collected as revenue. With Todarmal's help, Akbar prepared a table for revenue collection based on the type of land and production. Akbar followed the same method for revenue collection. It is said that the Mughal Mansabdari system was unique in the world and it was the highest paid in the world. Culture during the Mughal age. Indian culture flourished during the Mughal period. Hindu and Muslim cultures mingled with each other. It is also known as Ganga Jamuna culture. The Mughals established many forts, palaces, gates, mosques, and gardens. Babur set up gardens in Agra and Lahore. Sher Shah built a tomb at Sasaram and a mosque at Delhi. Akbar built the fort of Agra and made unique construction at Fatehpur Sikri, 36 km from Agra. These include Buland Darwaza, Salim Chishti Dargah, mosque and Panch Mahal built in memory of his victory over Gujarat. The use of marble increased in construction during the time of Jahangir. The time of Shah Jahan is considered to be the golden age of architecture of the Mughal Empire. He built the Taj Mahal and the Moti Masjid in Agra as well as the famous Red Fort in Delhi. Aurangzeb built a tomb of Rabir ud Dauran, that is Bibi Ka Maqbara, which bears a striking resemblance to the Taj Mahal in Aurangabad in memory of his wife. Students, Mughal emperors established many forts, gates, palaces, mosques and gardens during Mughal Empire, and these architectures were constructed with the combination of Hindu and Muslim cultures. Students, Babur, the founder of Mughal dynasty, did not live long to devote his time to construct huge and elaborate structures like the other Mughals, but he laid out several gardens, palaces in Agra, Dholpur and Delhi. Sher Shah also built a tomb at Sasaram and a mosque at Delhi. Humayun, he himself did not build many structures, but after his death, his wife Hamida Banu Begum, she built Humayun's tomb under her supervision, which was long contact with Persian culture in design. This was the first example of double dome in India. Akbar's greatest architectural achievement was the new capital at Fatehpur Sikri. He undertook construction on a massive scale. His architectural structures can be grouped in two. The first one comprised forts, palaces, and mosques. The second group mainly consisted of Fatehpur Sikri. This capital city of Akbar has the Diwan-e-Am, Diwan-e-Khas, the treasury, Panch Mahal, Jodhabai's palace, and Birbal's palace. The mosque with a gateway to it called the Buland Darwaza is probably the most remarkable structure made in India. The Victory Gate was built to commemorate Akbar's conquest of Gujarat. Jahangir and Shah Jahan's reign were an age of marble. The red sandstone was soon replaced by marble in its most refined form. Itmadud Daulat tomb built by Noor Jahan for her father was the perfect example of beautiful tomb built in marble. It shows the transition from the splendor of Akbar's red sandstone structure. Jahangir built the tomb of Akbar at Sikandra near Agra. It is a very big structure raised on a podium. There are kiosks on each side at the top, but the usual central dome is missing. Jahangir also laid out several gardens such as the Shalimar Bagh and the Nishat Bagh in Kashmir, which bear testimony of his passion for gardens. Aurangzeb had none of his father's passion for architecture. The major buildings include his mausoleum in Aurangabad, the Badshahi Masjid in Lahore, and Moti Masjid in Red Fort, Delhi. Painting. Mughal paintings were world famous. It highly progressed in the time of Jahangir. The Mughal emperors used to invite the best painters in Delhi. During Akbar's time, there were great painters named Jaswant and Basavan. They painted beautiful pictures in Persian stories, books of translation of Mahabharat and Akbarnama. Jahangir's painter named Mansoor was world famous. Jahangir established a school of paintings. During this period, art of painting progressed in Rajasthan, Gujarat, Punjab, Himachal, and the southern states. Students, the Mughals were great patrons of art and painting. There were many Indian and foreign painters in the court of Akbar. Most famous among them were Abu Samad, Farooq Beg, Jamshed Daswant, and Basavan. Emperor Jahangir was an expert painter himself. He was ready to pay any price for an excellent painting demanded by the owner. The most important painters at his court were Ustad Mansoor, Abul Hasan, Bishan Das, and Manhar. The art of painting received a severe blow during the reign of Aurangzeb. Eminent painters of the Mughal court migrated to Rajasthan and Himachal Pradesh. Literature. The Mughal emperors were the patrons of literature. They were good writers. During that period, extensive literature was created in Persian, Arabic, Hindi, and other Indian languages. Abul Fazl has written biography of Akbar, namely Akbarnama. He translated the Mahabharata. A lot of literature based on the life of Lord Krishna was written in Indian languages. Eknath, Gyaneshwar, and Swami Ramdas composed devotional literature in Marathi. Students, the Mughal emperors were themselves great scholars and patrons of art, learning, and literature. Babur was an accomplished scholar and was well versed in Arabic, Persian, and Turkish language. His well known prose work is his memoirs, Tuzuk-e-Barbari, a priceless record of his life. Akbar's court was adorned by great scholars who wrote many historical works like Ain-e Akbari, written by Abul Fazl, and Muntakhab ul Tawarik, written by Mullah Daud. The large number of work of other languages got translated into Persian during his reign. The most eminent scholars who undertook transliteration work were Abdul Rahim Khanekhana, Abul Fazl, and Haji Ibrahim, and Badaun. Emperor Jahangir wrote Tuzuk-e-Jahangiri, which is work of great literary merit. Shah Jahan was also very intellectual. During his reign, many historical works were written, and the notable one among them was Padshah Nama of Abdul Hamid Lahori, Shah Nama of Inayat Khan, etc. Aurangzeb was a great scholar of Islamic law but had no interest in poetry. Mirza Muhammad Karim, during his time, he wrote Alamgir Nama, and Munshi Sujan Rai wrote Khulasat ul Tawarik. Many notable scholars were there during Mughal period. Some among them are Abdul Rahim Khanekhana, Kabir, Surdas, Tulsidas. The Dohas of Rahim and Kabir are still recited. Then Abdul Rahim Khanekhana was the court poet of Mughal Emperor Akbar. Some of his verses are still popular, known as Rahim's Dohas. Poet Ras Khan wrote a number of poems in Hindi on Krishna's Bal Leela, and the most famous among them was Tulsidas, who wrote a number of books. Narsi Mehta wrote devotional songs in Gujarati. Hundreds of lyrics by the famous Chandidas were written in Bengali. The Ramayana by Kirti Vasa. Then Namdev and Eknath wrote in Marathi. The Mughal period also saw great growth in literature. Much progress was made during the reign of Akbar. Music. Akbar was a connoisseur of music. The great classical singer Tansen was one of his Navratnas. He created various ragas. Students, Akbar was very much fond of music. He loved listening to music, and especially the classical music sung by Tansen. Tansen was one of the Navratnas. Akbar had 9 jewels in his court, his 9 best courtiers, and Tansen was one of them. And Tansen he himself used to create various rag in music. Decline. The Mughal Empire, which established in 1526 AD, was on the brink of collapse after the death of Aurangzeb in 1707 AD. India was divided into small states in the absence of a powerful ruler. These included the weak rulers of Mughal dynasty, Nizam of Hyderabad, the Nawabs of Bengal and Bihar, the Rajput states of Rajasthan, the Marathas, the Sikh state of Punjab, etc. These states used to fight with one another. As a result, they became weak. Under such circumstances, trading companies from Europe started dreaming of establishing rule over India. Students, the Mughal Empire, which was established in 1526, started its downfall from 1707 AD. The empire set up by Babur extended over most of India in Aurangzeb's time, and during his reign itself started declining. Aurangzeb's narrow minded policies were responsible for the end of the Mughal Empire. Aurangzeb was the last powerful ruler. He died in 1707. After his death, the Mughal Empire began to decline. The Mughals who ascended the throne after the death of Aurangzeb, they proved to be weak rulers. And after his death, India was divided into small independent states, and these states were Nizam of Hyderabad, then the Nawabs of Bengal and Bihar, the Rajput states of Rajasthan, the Marathas, the Sikh state of Punjab, and many more. These states they were fighting with each other internally, and thus India became weak. And under these circumstances, the trading companies who were coming to India for trading, they saw that the rulers, the kings themselves, the princely states themselves are fighting among each other. So they started dreaming of establishing their rule in India. So students, this was chapter 3, Mughal Empire. Students, if you like my videos, don't forget to subscribe the channel Asma Babwani. Click on the bell icon to get the latest updates. Like the videos, share the videos, and do comment on all the videos.